What's up everyone, Ben Townley here. In today's tips and tricks we're going to go over the braking and how to use the correct amount of pressure on both your front and your rear brakes. So too often I see riders using either one brake quite heavily or far too aggressively, and they don't have the same control and confidence in their braking. So what I'm going to go through today should hopefully give you some really good understanding and insight on how to use those brakes correctly. And you'll note that you hear a lot of people say that you've got far more power in your front brake, and that's very true in terms of the ability to use your front brake and stop a lot quicker as opposed to the rear brake, where you do typically end up sliding. And we're going to go through that today and get a good understanding of how to use both. And you'll see that I've got a really good demonstration, little drill that you can do in your own time and get a good understanding of how to use those brakes correctly. So most importantly is making sure that you're using both the rear and the front together in that braking zone, and getting a good understanding for the power and the way that you feel those brakes as you're in that braking zone. So let's go through these now, get a good understanding of how to use the front and the rear brake together and have good confidence as you enter your braking zone. So only braking with your front brake is a really common habit I see with young riders. This habit develops early on smaller bikes and it carries over for far too long. As you can see here, my front brake certainly has a lot of power, but using the front brake only lacks a lot of control, especially when the soil is slightly wet or dry. It doesn't allow you to have confidence in your braking. So your front brake has 70% of your braking power or more potentially, depending on how much you use it. But it's got to be used in a controlled manner, which is really important. I believe that using one finger, using your index finger on the brake, is the best technique for using the front brake. You've got good control with your index finger, and when using one finger it allows you to really have nice feel with the brake. If you use two fingers you become too powerful and you can easily overpower that front brake. So as you can see here, the rear brake only lacks control also. So that's really common as well, seeing riders using that technique. And again, it isn't allowing you to be controlled with your braking for the next obstacle. And as you can see, it takes far too long to slow the bike down. Lifting your foot entirely off the foot peg to then place pressure on the rear brake is something you should avoid as well. As you can see here, when I lift my foot to apply pressure on the brake, all of my weight from my right leg is applied to the brake pedal, and you lose the ability to have control of brake pressure that you're applying. So having a nice calm movement with your foot is really important as well. Standing up while braking is the last piece to the puzzle that needs to be executed correctly, which really ties braking all together really. In this shot you can see that my body weight is shifted to the rear of the bike while I use both the front and the rear brakes together. That body weight shift to the rear of the bike allows me to get my weight away from the front end of the bike, and it takes that pressure off the front wheel. At this point I'm squeezing the front brake with my index finger, which allows me to control the front brake, and I'm rotating through my right ankle to apply pressure to the rear brake pedal with just the tip of my boot. That allows me to have good control of the rear brake as well. So have a look at these clips and then a drill that you could try yourself. Firstly, rear brake only has me sliding for quite a few meters, 20-25 meters before I completely pull up. Then trying to use my front brake only, which is certainly better, but takes a lot of control to achieve stopping that quickly. Then lastly, you can see how much control and how quickly I can stop when I shift my weight to the rear of the bike and I'm applying both brakes together in the braking zone. So give that drill a try and you'll be able to really see how much control you can get with both brakes applied while you're shifting that weight to the rear of the bike. Cool, so hopefully you've got a good understanding of what not to do and how to use your brakes correctly. Remember to try that drill. It's a really good one for you to get a good understanding. You know, you're going to slide with that rear brake. You're not going to have as much control if you're just using the front brake. So that drill is all about using both brakes correctly and having a really good feel. And you'll note how much quicker I was able to stop and the control I had to stop at that point. So give it a go. Hopefully you've got some really good tips and tricks here to improve your braking, and in turn it's going to give you more confidence. See you again soon.